Richmond Times Dispatch joins us. He covers the ACC, headed down, in fact, to cover the ACC and Media Days, and joins us while he's driving. David, thank you very much. If you don't mind, what were your thoughts, or what is your reaction to Memphis with $200 to $250 million trying to get themselves inside the Big 12, and they don't even take a vote and say no?
Money talks, and heck, money is the reason SMU is in the ACC, right? So in realignment, if that's what you have to do to get into a power conference, I guess that's the price of playing poker.
David, are you surprised that I wouldn't be surprised. Would the ACC ever in a million years be interested in a school like Memphis?
I don't think the ACC right now is in a position where it wants to add anyone.
Yeah.
You know, they're sitting there at 18 basketball schools, 17 football, which is a little bit of an awkward number. These conferences, they're going to reach critical mass at some point, and expanding beyond 18, it just becomes so awkward from a scheduling standpoint, from a management standpoint, all of it.
David, I guess around this time last year, there's a lot of talk about obviously Florida State and Clemson and their futures and just the health of the ACC and all of these different things. Obviously, that's been settled to some degree for the meantime. But what do you think will be the big talking points of ACC Media Days this year? And does the league feel like it's in a different place or in a similar place?
I think the league, certainly the league administrators, campus and conference office feel better than they did a year ago when it was so contentious and so awkward. Clearly a storyline in Charlotte this week will be Bill Belichick and North Carolina. You don't bring in a 6-time Super Bowl head coach champion without creating a heck of a lot of buzz. And then you've got Clemson and Miami and SMU. I think, they were the 3 best teams in the league last year. And for my money, they appear to be the 3 best teams in the league this year.
So, by the way, the Virginia Pilot and Newport News, where David Teel joins us on 365 Sports on his way to ACC Media Days. Is Clemson an overwhelming favorite to win, or is there enough from Miami and possibly SMU to make sure that's not one-sided?
Clemson is Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, my. Well, we know what that means.
I think the Tigers are very much an overwhelming favorite. If you look at the personnel on both sides of the football, you've got one of the, if not the best returning quarterbacks in the country in Cade Klubnik. You've got a first-team All-ACC wideout in Antonio Williams. You've got a first-team All-ACC tackle in Blake Miller. And you've got 2 of the best defensive linemen in the country in TJ Parker and Peter Woods. It's a pretty stout group.
David, do you see anybody like a Duke, a Pitt, or someone being able, because they have some good quarterbacks there, to jump up, and Louisville maybe and kind of wreck the league?
I think Louisville and Duke especially. Duke and Louisville and Clemson are the only 3 ACC programs that have won at least 8 games in each of the last 3 seasons. Clemson's obvious. I think most people would say, okay, I can see Louisville, but Duke is the sleeper in that group. And last year went 9-4 in Manny Diaz's first season on the sideline. They went in the portal. People think Duke doesn't invest in football. Well, they went in the portal and got one of the most coveted quarterbacks out there in Darian Mensah from Tulane. So clearly the donors and the administration in Durham are all in on football. They have one of the best defensive backfields in the league. Duke and Louisville both. Miller Moss at Louisville, comes over from USC, and he's calling Lacey. The wideout is healthy again. They added a young man from Florida International who was first team All-Conference USA last season, also at wideout. I mean, they've got some pieces now.
Fran Brown made things very interesting last year at Syracuse. How interesting do you think they will be this season? I know most previews assume they're going to take some step back, but it feels like the present's very bright and the future is as well.
Well, you win 10 games in your first season as a head coach, you're doing something right. And clearly Fran Brown did last season. I think Syracuse is going to take a big step back. No Kyle McCord, no LaQuinn Allen, no Gadsden to be catching passes. And perhaps most important, why Syracuse could take a big step back, the schedule.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Syracuse plays Clemson, Miami, and SMU all on the road. I mean, it's just brutal the way the rotation worked out for the Orange this season. And guys, just let me correct one thing I was saying about Louisville. The wide receiver I was referring to is Eric Rivers, and he did not transfer to Louisville. He transferred to Georgia Tech. And that is another team that could upset the apple cart in this league with Haynes King back at quarterback and Jamal Haynes back at running back. They've got some pieces. Kyle Efford, the linebacker. Brent Key is doing some work on the flats in Atlanta.
Hell, they were just a call away from beating Georgia and interrupting a lot of that. You mentioned the games on the road. They played Georgia Tech on the road and Notre Dame on the road. So they have pretty much, you would think, everybody that is competing for an ACC title, if in fact it is also Syracuse, those are all road games, not to mention the ones you said.
Yeah, no, it's really rough. And then on the flip side, a team I pay attention to, obviously, is the University of Virginia. The Cavaliers are the only ACC team that does not play Clemson, SMU, or Miami this season.
And they brought in Chandler Morris. Tony Elliott, does he kind of need to make hay while the sun shines this year, David?
Yes, absolutely. 3 consecutive losing seasons to start his tenure. And obviously some mitigating circumstances with the tragedy that happened near the end of his debut season. But still, there is a scoreboard and you have to win. And the Virginia administration and its donors invested heavily this offseason. You mentioned Chandler Morris, the quarterback they brought in from North Texas, who is the number 2 returning passer in the country in terms of yards per game. And he's not the only one they spent some money on. They brought in a host of defensive backs and offensive linemen. And I wouldn't be surprised if, 15 to 17 of the 22 starters come the opener against Coastal Carolina are from that portal.
Yeah. I love the title in your article. Clemson tops the ACC's ballot, et cetera. But you said, ACC's football version of Scotty Scheffler. What great timing to mention that as they are on the verge of opening up ACC Media Days. How many wins is Thomas Castellanos worth at quarterback at Florida State?
Great question. He wasn't worth a whole lot of wins at Boston College last year. Will the reunion with Gus Malzahn help him? Florida State is not going to be 13-1 good. Florida State, for Mike Norvell's sake, it better not be 2-10 bad. But to see a program go from those heights to those depths in just 1 year was absolutely jarring. but they've made the changes at the coordinator spots. I think the Seminoles will be markedly better. Now, how that translates, 7-8 wins.
Paul, you take that right now.
Yeah,
after suffering of last year.
Right now, if I could take that and somehow do the Men in Black, flashy thing where I don't remember 2024, that'd be just an amazing thing, David. Virginia Tech and Brent Pry, are they in a similar spot that Virginia is, or are they maybe a little bit? Does he have a little bit more leeway?
Actually, I think he may have less leeway, guys, because the expectations at Virginia Tech are much higher than they are at Virginia. If Brent Pry has a third consecutive 6-6 regular season, I think it's going to be a really hard sell to keep him. Now, if Tony Elliott were to get Virginia to 6-6 and bowl eligible, I think everyone would think of that as progress. I think Brent Pry is operating under far higher expectations in Blacksburg, and rightfully so. Virginia Tech, first and foremost, is a football school. UVA is not.
Man, it's good